What's going on, everybody? Tim Lawson here from the Better Life podcast and Bet the USL Twitter handle, here to talk about the USL matches happening on April 16. That is today, the first match. It kicks off at 7. No early matches today, which is disappointing. But let's go through some of these, and I'll let you know what I think about these games and where I may have some bets in the account. Okay, let's give you a little better view of all right. Footy Stats is one of the primary websites that I use for data and team assessment, handicapping, stuff like that. So I decided to pull up their website as I go through some of these matches. Miami and Hartford. This is a really interesting match because I don't think we really know much about Hartford yet, and I mean that they've only played 4 matches, I think, is what they have underneath their belt. But they have become they've seen 100% both teams to score in all of their matches. They've managed to score against Pittsburgh, which is an easy, Tampa, which is an easy, and then Birmingham, which is an easy. So they've scored a goal in 3 matches, even though those all resulted in either a loss or a draw. They've managed to score against teams that are tough to score against. And Miami is not the team that that we maybe thought they were coming into the season. And I just think that there is more opportunity here. I don't know if I really want to take them to win, because Miami is a quality side. They're still sort of waiting to find their stride. A win in Tampa Bay was huge, but it's it's hard to. I don't see them sort of rolling Hartford here if Hartford can continue this sort of quality. So I did take Hartford at +1. I got -128, which is the best number I've seen on the +1 so far. But if you can find better, I really wouldn't take this past -130. You don't want to lay a whole bunch of juice on these games. But Miami has 1-2-0 win, or has, I guess, just say they have one win of 2 goals or more, and that was against New York Red Bulls here. And New York Red Bulls just they're not that team. So and they're even a little bit more I think difficult to figure out on game state sometimes. So I took Hartford +1. Going back to, goodness, this is not going to be since I have the browser full screen, tabs aren't going to work. So I have to be a little more deliberate on how okay. All right, let's go. We'll just go with this one here. Tampa Bay Rowdies versus Tulsa Roughnecks. Are they officially going by Tulsa Roughnecks? I've only ever known them as Tulsa FC, but for some reason here they have Tulsa Roughnecks. I think that's a dated name for the organization. But anyhow, Tulsa is the side. Now, when you first look at this, you're going to look over here at their away game XG and XGA and be like, holy smokes, what an underwhelming team. Well, that data is kind of diluted a little bit, because their first away game was in Charleston. Charleston got an early goal, good effort, but Charleston they get an early goal, and then Tulsa suffers a red card, just can't quite get back in the game. First game of the season. I'm not putting too much weight on this. We've learned that Charleston isn't that is not that great of a team, but they did manage to get this goal and then hold on when they were up a man. And then Tulsa going into Sacramento, I mean, that's not an easy trip. A 2-1 loss was probably expected there for this. And so I'm not looking into their advanced metrics too much on the road, because it's I don't think I think there's more to be seen from this Tulsa team. As we saw in their home games, they put up a good fight. And then we look at Tampa Bay's body of work, and they've got a couple wins in the season, being 2-0 to an Indy 11 team that is slowly learning its new system underneath their new head coach, Mike Lowry. And then they go into Atlanta United, who is probably maybe the worst team in the league, and they win 3-0 there. But otherwise, haven't dominated. Oakland Roots hung around. Hartford, like I said, hung around. Birmingham did well in the first game of the season. I think Tulsa is ripe here for a close game. I actually took Tulsa both at +1.25 on the spread. I think I got it at -120, and then I put a little bit on the +550. You can find it as high as 6-1, like a DraftKings. And I think that there's just too much value here on a Tulsa side that's going to be able to run with Tampa. I think the only really well, I was going to say if Tampa Bay scores early, they may be able to control pace of the game enough where Tulsa doesn't get as many chances as we'd like to see. But even in that, I think that still results in a 1-goal game, and you still catch some money on the hook. When it comes to betting both spreads and money lines, every handicap or every sports bettor needs to make their own decisions on what that means for um, uh, like what that means for bet size. I in the USL Championship, because I'm a little bit more aggressive with this stuff. Um, I usually do something along the lines of a 2-1. So for whatever I have on the spread, I'll put like half of that on the money line. But that's specifically in the USL because I am a little bit more aggressive. This is not whatever. There we go. Talked about Miami, Indy 11 at United, or Atlanta United. Atlanta United is just not good. Indy 11 is still trying to figure itself out. I haven't made a play here. I expect Indy 11 to win. I just don't know by how much, and I don't know if I expect Atlanta United to find a way to get a goal here. Indy 11 has done well, has done pretty well defensively. I mean, you can see here, like there hasn't been, they haven't really had to deal with too much at home, but with the one draw game that they have. But I don't think I don't know if I know if Atlanta United's going to be able to do much offensively here, and because of that, I don't really know what I think the game state might be in early or late game. So I have chosen to pass on this game. Let me just. I know I'm going a long way around because I have the on my second screen here. I have this set at full screen, so I don't have like the tabs open and such. So, Indy 11, San Antonio, El Paso Locomotive. This is a game that I have a good position on that I really like. I took the over 2.5 goals at -120, and here's why. San Antonio is good. They're a solid team, and even in there, they've been dealing with some injuries, but I mean they've put together a nice string of games here. You only dropping the game against a good Phoenix. Now I think hosting Phoenix, I think they definitely. I mean this. I was a little worried about San Antonio when I saw they couldn't get a goal against Phoenix while they were at home, but I'm not putting too much stock into this as they've put on a good performance everywhere else, and they got a strong 1-0 win in Orange County. Now, as you'll learn here in the next game, I'm not as high on Orange County as maybe the market is and some other people. So I don't know really what I should have expected out of San Antonio more here. But when you look at El Paso Locomotive, they've definitely struggled this year. They finally got their first win with a 5-0 win over Monterey Bay, who isn't great. But if you look at these goal totals, only one game has been as low as 3 goals, and the rest has been over. Now, is that sustainable? Of course not, right? They aren't going to be a 3 goals and over team all season. But I think what we're seeing here, and especially because there's a nice mix of types of teams, right? Sacramento, San Diego, Vegas, New Mexico. This is a wide range of different types of teams, different ways of playing, different philosophies, stuff like that, different quality. And yet goals are abundant across the spectrum here. So I like the chances of San Antonio getting one of their own. I think El Paso can definitely find one of their own too. And then El Paso, the games are just open. Like the play is open and fluid, and the Las Vegas game probably the anomaly here, or the outlier, if you will, because of that congestion of goals there. But even you take 5 goals away from that match, and it's still a 4-goal game, right? So I like the over 2.5 here, and that's what I went with. And I try not to, it may seem like, oh, it's kind of trendy, right? I mean, is that a strong handicap, or am I just looking at a trend here? I look for teams to show me what kind of team they are, right? What kind of profile I should maybe give them. And then make sure, and then if I see that continuing or having the opportunity to continue, I'm going to continue following that, right? I wouldn't take the under here. Why would I fade a trend when you can only beat a trend once, right? And so you shouldn't bet based on trends, but trends can help show you sort of how a team's how a team's playing, what kind of games they play, stuff like that. And I think El Paso is showing that, maybe now that they're off the Schneid, with that win in Monterey Bay, maybe they tighten up, but they're not like desperate for that first win. But I still think that going into San Antonio, they're gonna be hungry to finally get points again. And I don't think I just I can't see this ending 0-0. And I think one of the both teams are going to end up finding the back of the net, and like my chances are on the over. Colorado Springs, Memphis 901. I'm not even going to open this match because I'm just going to be honest. This is the game that I have the least feel for. Colorado Springs obviously is in amazing form. They're 5-0, right? They've won all their games. Memphis has given us they're giving us a bit of a smattering of results. You know, 3-0 against Pittsburgh. The 1-1 in Detroit. Those are, I mean, the loss in Pittsburgh, they took a red card, right? And that didn't help. They beat, a tough Las Vegas Lights team, and they kept Vegas to no goals, which is kind of surprising right now. But at the same time, I mean, like, do I believe that Memphis is going to be able to absolutely keep this to a draw or better? Right now, you can find minus. You can find us minus. What am I trying to say here? You can find Memphis plus a goal, which I think is probably a draw, right? I think Colorado Springs still has the quality to win this, especially at home. And that's even me just trying to find a narrative here because, like I said, this is a game that I have the least feel on. Phoenix hosting New Mexico. This is a game that I did make a play on. Kind of strange the way that I've played this so far. I missed the full goal spread. So New Mexico opened as like a plus 425 underdog on the three-way money line, and then they were +1 on the goal line. I missed the +1 on the goal line. It's now like plus 3/4, plus 0.75. I haven't played that. I'm probably not going to play it until I can get back to that goal. But I did play the plus 425, and I may actually just be okay with that money line play. Typically, when I take dogs like that, I also, of course, want some action on the spread, right? Because if I think they have the potential to win, I think they're going to be competitive and keep it close. Where I might be okay with just the money line on this one is New Mexico is a strong team. They got a quality striker in Brett, who's going to be able, I think, who I think he's going to find the back of the net here. And Phoenix, as we've seen in their body of work, is exploitable, right? San Antonio is the only team that hasn't been able to beat them. Monterey Bay found 2 goals against them. Vegas got beat them with a couple goals. San Diego got 3 goals. LA Galaxy should have had more than 1 goal in that match. So Phoenix Rising, I think, is a good team that's beatable by good and competitive teams. And I consider New Mexico to be a good and competitive team. Just the way Phoenix games go, I'm not like, I wouldn't expect a draw here. Like, I either think Phoenix is going to be able to do Phoenix things, or I think New Mexico outdoes them. So I have the plus 425. If it ends up in a draw and I lose my money line bet and I missed out on the spread, so be it. If this line gets back to +1, there's a chance I take a play on that as well. Currently, I only have plus 425 in the account, and I'm happy with that so far. Orange County, Orange County and Sacramento Republic. Now, what you're seeing here, this is showing how many the average points they're getting in in that scenario. So this is Orange County at home, right? So they've They've gotten 3 points and they've gotten 0 points, so they're averaging 1.5 points. Sacramento's been on the road once, which they lost, so they have 0 points. So when you first look at it, like, oh my goodness, Sacramento doesn't do well on the road. Well, they've only had the one game, and it's not something that I don't think we really need to worry about, because it was against a good San Diego team. Otherwise, Sacramento has simply gotten it done. They beat a good Tulsa team. They thwopped El Paso. Monterey Bay probably should have been a little better, but Sacramento isn't going to be a high goal scoring team typically. So the 2 goals there is just fine. And Orange County lost their key goal scorer in Damas. And like, what I don't understand about Orange County right now, Orange County was highly undervalued a number of times in the season last year. And now that they've lost their key goal scorer in Damas, they're getting more respect game to game. In my opinion, they're getting more respect in these first 4 games of the season than they got during the playoffs last year. And they went on to win the title, right? They're the defending champions. They have not scored before the 79th minute so far this season. That's not sustainable. They're going to find the back of the net in the first 45 and earlier eventually. But right now they're struggling in early game, and I think they're manifesting opportunities in late game against possibly fatigued or maybe they've got fresh legs on the pitch and are able to beat the defense there. But I just don't. I think the wrong team's favored here. I got Sacramento at plus a quarter and at plus 205 on the money line. You can even find that at plus 220 some places on the money line. And I think the wrong team's favorite here. I've played both of those. I especially played Sacramento first half draw no bet. I got it at plus 132. Draw no bet, of course, meaning that if it ends in a draw, it's a push. It's a no bet. And that's just based on the fact that as Sacramento does a good job of controlling the first half, and as we've seen, Orange County hasn't been able to do much, has not scored yet in the first half. So I think that that's probably a push at worst. Sacramento should be able to keep a less potent, or just not potent at all, Orange County team to no goals in the first half, and then hoping that it can just maintain quality through the rest of the match and get that there. But I have Orange County on the money line, on the spread in the first half, the draw no bet, because I think the wrong team's favorite here. And I will continue to fade Orange County in these ways until they show me that they can put in consistent 90-minute performances. And look, as we saw, they've only conceded 1 or 2 goals in the first half, right? Otherwise, they haven't been taking a whole lot of heat in the first half, which means that they're doing something right. But you can only succeed for so long in the USL by not scoring goals, right? And that's kind of what's happening there, and they're getting lucky late game, I think. So, and I could be wrong. Look, I'm not perfect in this league. I don't. If I knew all the answers, I'd be betting every game for. But got to pick and choose and have to find your positions and stand by them. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself nuts trying to flip flop based on different opinions and what you're seeing. So every game is a new one. LA Galaxy versus Monterey Bay. I don't have any action here. I think the line came out right. LA Galaxy is a favorite, as they should be. I think the total's around 3, which it should be. And Monterey Bay, as you'll see here, they've played all their matches on the road so far because their field's still being built, and so constant road team. There's no way. They're still trying to figure out who they are. They're still trying to put stuff together. They're a brand new team. LA Galaxy will likely score here. They've scored in every match. But I thought the lines were fair. I stayed off of it. San Diego Loyal hosting Louisville City. This came out with San Diego being a slight favorite because they're at home. Louisville City have not allowed a goal, or they've allowed 1 goal to be scored so far this season. And so typically San Diego is a team where I'd be looking at both teams to score, possibly an over. I'm staying off all of that for this game because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if San Diego's offense, that is tied for a league best 7-goal differential, is going to prevail here, or if Louisville City, who have only allowed 1 goal this season, is going to be able to maintain that level of control in the game and control the pace here and keep this a low-scoring affair. I did sort of unofficially bet. I took no goal scored at 11-1. I took a 0-0 score line at 11-1, thinking that this may be a situation where two competitive teams are in a standoff and neither of them can quite get it done. But I think Louisville's going to get it done. I think Louisville's going to. We're going to learn today that Louisville is no kidding the best team in the league across both conferences. But that'll be just this. I'm definitely watching this match because goodness, what a quality match this is. Oakland Roots hosting Loudoun United. Now, I didn't add it to my banners here, but I do have a little bet on. I have a minimum bet on Oakland Roots. It's got down to -110. Loudoun United's body of work is just so. I mean, look, they started off the season strong, and then they kind of like peter off. Now, where you have to give them credit is these two teams that they've lost to are strong sides, right? These are probably this is probably 1 and 2, Louisville and Pittsburgh in the East. So there's no shame in losing these matches. But I think that these wins that we're seeing came with asterisks in that they had MLS loanees here against Indy 11 season opener, Indy's first match under their new system, and that's still only a 1-0 game. New York Red Bulls were controlling that game until they conceded a red card. Then Loudoun flipped it on them. This Loudoun Miami game was just kind of blase blah for on both sides, right? And Miami, again, like we mentioned, still trying to figure a lot of things out. So in Oakland, on the other side, has really shown that they can, even with, I mean, they don't have any wins yet, but this is a competitive team. I mean, drawing in San Diego when they were down a man, drawing against Tampa Bay, drawing against a strong New Mexico side, I think they're finding their footing, and this is a quality side. So I have a minimum bet on Oakland -110, or -110 to win outright. I think that they can. I think this is like a 1-0 game, and they win over Loudoun. Like I said, it's a minimum bet because Loudoun's their losses have come at expected losses, so it's difficult to really weigh those. This game here against Monterey Bay, I kind of scrubbed this from sort of my team evaluation. I think this is one of the outliers that we're going to find in this Oakland side in the season. This is variance, I think, kicking in because Monterey Bay has showed us that they can't compete with quality sides like this. So, and then when you take that away, they lost to a Memphis team, and then home season openers are tough to evaluate because you don't know really what to expect from either side depending on like what system they're in, what new players they have, stuff like that. So Oakland recency showing us that they can run with quality sides, and I don't think Loudoun's one of them. So I expect them to get a win here. Another way to play this, if you don't want to lay the -110. An interesting way to play this might be correct score line. So I might take like a 1-0 and a 2-0 correct score line on Oakland. I don't see them really getting more than that. I don't think they're going to trounce Loudoun. And you're probably going to get like 7-1 and 10-1 on those respectively, or maybe even a little bit higher than that. So that would be an alternative way to play that if you wanted. Going back to other matches, by the way, this is I think to date this is my the most interesting set of games that we have, both on pairings, on how the lines came out. So it's a very exciting day. I'm just very disappointed that there's no early matches. Las Vegas Lights, Pittsburgh. I'm not going to talk about this because I don't have a play. I think this line came out right. Came out at 3. I think so. I need to look. If it starts ticking up a little bit, I think that's at plus money on the under 3, or if it gets to 3.25, I think an under is a look. Pittsburgh should be able to control this match. Las Vegas Lights lives and dies by Trejo, and then I can't remember the other guy's name, unfortunately. But there's two players that they live and die by, and I think Pittsburgh will be able to handle that situation better than any of the teams that have played Vegas so far. So I expect Pittsburgh to win, and I expect this to be like a 2 or 3 goal match. So if I can find 3 at plus money on the under, or if this gets high enough to 3.25, I'm probably going to take an under here because even with as much as I love Vegas and as much as Vegas right now is associated with goal scoring, I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to control this game enough to keep it under. But I mean, only if it's plus money, right? If it's like minus 110 on the under, I'm not taking that, right? I'm talking about plus 105, plus 110 on the under, right? I want this to be I want that to be a winning proposition on what I believe is probably a 50-50 market. I made my fair 3 for that match. And so my fair 3 is assuming common juice but the common vig on both sides at minus 110. So if we're getting plus 110, that's a 20-cent swing. That's improving my break-even rate on that play, and I will. That's a play that I'd be interested in. And I think that's it. Did I get through all of them? I think so. Those are plays and I think I touched on all of these. Let me look through my. Yeah, I touched on all of these, I think. Okay. Well, good luck with all your bets. Only Saturday games this time. No Sunday matches. So interesting weekend with a couple Friday matches that played last night. No early games and then no Sunday games. So a really interesting slate for the USL today, but all bunched in between 7 and midnight Eastern time. Good luck with all your bets. See you next week.